And welcome back, guys, to the caster booth here at the Donald L. Tucker Civic Center at Florida State University, where the North American LCS team SoloMid are about to square off against the #1 team in the LPL, Edward Gaming. Man, this match is going to be intense.
It will, and I think a lot of it, just like this tournament, really does focus on Dyrus' performance here. Dyrus actually was the #1 player in terms of giving up first blood in the entire NALCS spring split at 35%, and he's up at 75% here at MSI. And a lot of people will be quick to blame Dyrus for this, but it really is a systemic failure from TSM. Santorin's jungle pathing really hasn't helped him out very much, and even though he's had some questionable pressure at times, it's something that they really need to solve, because top lane has proved so critical at this tournament, and the snowballs coming in off of the top lane on enemy teams are hugely problematic.
It's something that wasn't punished in the North American LCS. They were always able to get away with Dyrus dying early on in the games. With the teams at the Mid-Season Invitational, that's just simply not the case. EDG will punish it too if it happens again in this game. EDG is the most killy team at MSI right here. Actually, 3/4 of a kill per minute, 94 total kills in 4 games, which is currently the highest at the Mid-Season Invitational. That is an insane pace of killing the enemy team. And if TSM, specifically Dyrus, continue to put themselves in situations where they can be punished, Edward Gaming, more so than anyone else, will do that.
That's right. And before we get into picks and bans, guys, let's take a look at the starters. On the blue side this game, it is Team SoloMid. Of course, you know them well. Dyrus up in the top lane, Santorin in the jungle, Bjergsen at mid, Wild Turtle at AD carry, and down to support, my favorite position, it's Lustboy, and of course, their coach, Loco Doco.
TSM chance still coming through. They're not technically out of MSI yet.
Not yet.
Setting up on the red side is the LPL's Edward Gaming. We got Koro, who is carrying EDG in some of his games from the top lane. Clearlove in the jungle, Pawn in mid lane. Deft nearly picked up a pentakill in their last match. Mako on support, and their longtime coach, of course, during picks and bans will be Aaron.
That's right, and man, I mean, TSM, these fans just don't give up, and they shouldn't. This is a team that just hasn't performed up to what we've seen them perform as in the NALCS. We know they've got it in them.
Yeah, they absolutely do. It's been one of the great puzzles of this tournament is the normally very clean TSM just hasn't showed up, and it seems like everything isn't going their way. Lustboy yesterday had the lowest wards placed of any support, and in fact he's getting outwarded by several, not even just one, but several junglers at this tournament so far.
Yeah, and you have to wonder whether or not TSM feels defeated right now, because they still just have that one win at the entire event over Besiktas, and this game is against a team that has looked dominated against everyone except for SKT. But we have to keep in mind, as far as bracket stage implications go, if TSM is able to win this game against EDG, and then Fnatic loses the game to Besiktas, that's what would have to happen for TSM to move on. It can happen. But until that happens, there is no reason for TSM to not give this their all and treat this as if they were still locked in for the bracket stage, a must-win.
It's pretty insane, but it is time, guys, to get into picks and bans for TSM versus EDG. Looks like Gnar and Maokai the first couple bans.
So taking out that Gnar right away, it has been a strategy that we've been thinking might work against EDG. Take away the Gnar, take away the Sejuani, because typically EDG hasn't been quite as strong without a lot of hard engage and crowd control.
Okay, Hecarim, the second ban for TSM. Looks like we won't see Dyrus taking that one.
It's about time. His Hecarim has been very underwhelming, a flashless champion. But you can see once again, this is heavily targeted as top lane bans once again.
This was disastrous against Fnatic when they attempted this strategy. We can probably assume that Sion's going to be last, so is TSM going to first pick Rumble? Because that's where Koro's going to go on the first round of the draft on the red side.
You would think so. Last ban for TSM should tell us quite a bit.
Yeah, there's also the fact that in TSM's 3 defeats, Urgot has been picked by the opponent. Rumble. Every single one of them. TSM ends up banning the Rumble themselves, which would line up a Sion ban, but this is a trade of things. Would TSM just go all out, pick Urgot, and then throw Dyrus to the wolves?
Well, it wouldn't be the first time, would it?
Not quite.
All right, let's see what this last ban is going to be. Long time. Are they going to give the Sion over to Team SoloMid? Last ban will be Zed.
Zed, okay.
Surprisingly.
Huh. Well, what do you know? And the Shyvana possibly for TSM, a champion that Dyrus, who knows, maybe could see some success on. Smite Shyvana, we've seen it work very, very well in other regions. but is it first pick worthy? Do you give up too much? I would love this. I would love the first pick Bard, but we're not going to see it. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, guys.
There are so many things that are first pick worthy. Urgot is the most first pick worthy. It's something that has been first picked against TSM twice so far. However, this does leave up plenty of things for EDG since there were such heavily focused top lane bans.
Kalista still available as well, too. Maybe a Lissandra? You think that's actually got a chance of getting locked in, Monty?
We haven't seen the Lissandra very much post Cinderhulk just because her burst really isn't that effective in the late game. Yeah, she can make some kills, but it just hasn't been that much of a priority. There's the Kalista and the Rek'Sai. So apparently they're comfortable. Shyvana and Sion, pretty common top lane picks that are still up, or will probably be comfortable playing either.
You know, so this does leave a Sejuani or a Grungle in the jungle open for Santorin, but it hasn't really been about the champions for him. It's more about what he's done, or rather what he's not done. He's spent a lot of time just kind of farming and not really being in lane. Do you think maybe a Nidalee pick might get him back on track?
Well, this would certainly force him to be more aggressive.
It would.
And it's a champion he has had some success on in the past.
Yeah, Santorin needs something to create more aggression. I just want to highlight the Kalista play from Deft could end up being one of the most surprising things here at MSI as far as EDG's chances of winning. Him not having Kalista in his champion pool during the LPL playoffs was a pretty big hindrance to them, and he's had one successful Kalista performance, going to be looking for 2 in a row.
Oh, maybe we'll get to see that Sion picked up for Dyrus. Meanwhile, Corki being hovered over. And an NA, that could be mid or AD carry, I suppose. And there it is, locked in. Dyrus gets the Sion.
This is quite standard for TSM, and I'm glad that they're going back to the things that they won the NALCS with.
Yes.
There were 2 games in the finals against Cloud9 when Wild Turtle played Corki in the bottom lane. Urgot in the mid lane is something Bjergsen can dominate the lane with, and Sion is very hard to kill, which is great for them in the top lane.
One thing we forgot to mention is LeBlanc is still up and available.
Oh, that's a good point.
In the mid lane for Pawn. It has been one of his most terrifying champions. Interestingly, we also haven't seen the Kassadin come out yet from Pawn, which was one of his big picks throughout the LPL playoffs and one of his most threatening champions. EDG is on the red side this game. They have that last pick, and they'll probably be saving that, flashing over the LeBlanc to not remind Bjergsen. And there's the Talon. Wants to use his fancy new skin, maybe.
That would be
not on the tournament realm yet, but
Mundo locked in. All right, so Core will be able to take that Mundo up to the top lane. Meanwhile, perhaps a Sejuani for Santorin. That wouldn't be too shocking, would it?
Would not be too shocking at all. They're going for an overall control comp right there. Basically just trying to mimic the things that they played well in the playoffs. To talk about the Mundo pick a little bit from Edward Gaming, if they're able to snowball that lane a little bit, he stands a high chance of becoming highly unkillable. Corki, not a great tank buster. Urgot,
very true.
If he falls behind that curve of Mundo tankiness, they're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Well, one final pick.
He has to pick this mid laner blind, which is really tricky. Go for LeBlanc. Just do it.
No, he's got the Urgot, man.
Oh, he already has Urgot. What am I thinking?
Oh, that's true.
They have to pick their support. They're going Thresh. It's gone. What am I saying?
I don't know, man. It's okay. Let's just start making. I think we're going to see Anivia. No.
Yes!
Lust Boy will be playing Bard. Are you kidding me? I'm a very happy Doa right now, guys. I love this champion. I've loved him from the very moment he came out.
Yeah, and honestly,
wow.
That's all it takes. It's all it takes to grab the support back.
That's all it should ever take.
Bard in particular, I feel like is absolutely worthy of being played at this event. It's just the team coordination and individual practice, both of those in conjunction with each other, are required, and teams just haven't had enough time with him yet to play him at the highest level.
He's one of those champions it's going to take a long time for teams to actually adopt, because playing him in solo queue, it gives you some experience, but he's a champion that you really have to ramp up in scrims. And there is possible Azir for Pawn coming in. This is not a champion that he actually played at all in the LPL playoffs, but has become a bit of a power pick at MSI.
It really feels like coming into MSI, all the mid laners just tried to add Cassiopeia and Azir to their pool because they knew they would be incredibly important here.
It's not a bad idea. That Azir does get locked in for Pawn. I'm just excited, man. Bard, finally! And TSM putting it all on the line here. Dyrus getting a champion that he's done very well on. Mid Urgot for Bjergsen. I'd say going into this one, compositionally, things looking pretty solid for TSM.
Yeah, I have no idea how this Bard's going to play out. I have no idea how experienced TSM is on it.
Yeah.
It's certainly a bit of a wild card, but that said, EDG is probably the team that's most used to playing against Bard.
That's a good point, actually, yeah.
Yeah, near the end of the LPL regular season, there were a lot of meaningless games because the standings were mostly set, and there was a lot of Bard play.
Especially from LGD, yeah. So,
yeah,
a bit interesting.
Huh. Very cool either way. As we are moments away from TSM versus EDG. Fans getting pumped. This is going to be an amazing game, guys. The coaches shaking hands. And the game is loading.
I want to talk about Bard.
Me too. Let's just talk about Bard all day. Oh, but before we do that, remember, at LOL Esports, guys, send your tweets, hashtag TSM, hashtag EDG. Let us know who you think is going to take this one. I think I've got a feeling I know which way the crowd is leaning.
Really? Which way?
I think probably towards TSM, if I had to put some money on it. But who wouldn't pick the team that's using Bard?
Speaking of which, Bard.
When
he was released.
Here we go. Welcome to Summoner's Rift, guys. TSM versus EDG. TSM putting it all on the line with the Bard. So, Jad, you wanted to talk about Bard.
Cloud armor.
When Bard was released.
Oh, yeah.
It almost seemed like he was made for competitive play and specifically lane swaps.
Yes.
Having the Meep spawn so frequently, the atrociousness of his laning phase, and the ability of him to assist ganks with the magical journey were all things that just looked like they were perfect for lane swapping. Since then, though, he's had a lot of base stat adjustments, and his pick potential has also been greatly increased. The Q packs a huge punch. If he picks up a lot of Meeps, he's going to be doing really substantial burst damage in ganks. And as TSM has generally found all of their success in the lane swap, that's the game we're most likely going to be seeing here, is Lustboy trying to go around, meeping it up, and getting the right ganks off.
Yeah, starting with the cloth armor, too. Of course, Bard does have the sustain a little bit more, so you have a few more options, but I wonder if there's a more specific, I should say, level 1 plan right here.
I got this one, man. Cloth armor first, you can go into a fast Seeker's arm guard into a first item zone. You see? I know this build by heart.
A lot of people early on with Bard were actually starting Coin because he's not really going to be a laner, so they didn't really care about any type of lane presence item, and it was mainly just about roaming around. Here with the cloth armor, it would give him a little bit more combat effectiveness, but the main thing it does is it gives him the gold to actually start with that sight ward. So we'll see what he tries to do with that, because the early game action has been pretty subdued.
Oh, clearly, TSM has a plan coming into this one with a bit of a surprising buy early on for Lustboy. We'll see what they can do to put it into practice.
All right, so this is a pretty common start among Chinese teams, with the jungler actually burning the smite onto the Gromp right there. We see it more in the China region than we see in most other places. Clearly, of course, does have that sustain as well. Dyrus will be committing wolf suicide.
That doesn't count for first blood, though, so we're safe.
That's true. There we go, just getting that quick level 2 from beyond the grave.
Here we go, TP right into the bottom lane, and onto Kalista. However, Rek'Sai is going to be moving down to the bottom side of the map. Koro did start up in top, so he's going to be recalling immediately.
Yeah.
And only 3 people for a possible dive or harassment. Not probably going to be enough, and there's the TP into top.
Well, the green ward that Lustboy had purchased has been placed on the red buff of Edward Gaming, so they would know at this point. Love is just going for the own red buff.
Hits his first Q, that's got to be a good sign, right? Oh, a lot of damage on the pawn. Bjergsen owning up in the mid lane already. Look at that.
I mean, Bard's land his first Q in lane, they basically won.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's all the victory you need. Get the snare, get the win.
So will they go for a gank on a Bjergsen right here from the Raptor pit?
Maybe.
Put a little pressure on, but Bjergsen playing it safe, playing the top side right now.
And Clearlove doesn't have a lot of health. He can get some back from his passive after he burrows, but doesn't look like they're going to try that gank. Meanwhile, Dyrus farming under turret here. Do you think they're going to try to dive this Sion?
Both top laners left on an island. Both Mundo and Sion are in danger of a 3-man gank. It's all about who gets the aggro first and how they execute.
Onto Clearlove, Mako taking it right now. Dyrus trying to get that stun. Dyrus in a lot of trouble. And there is a Ren for the first blood. Def taking it. Dyrus just getting a bit of farm before he goes back to the fountain, but yet another first blood.
That's 4 out of TSM's 5 group stage games now.
Yep.
But
there was no protection for him on that side, especially when TSM placed the ward in ClearLove's red buff. They knew exactly the jungle pass they were doing. They knew exactly what was at stake, and Dyrus either has to abandon the farm at the turret or risk getting dove. And the dive was well executed by EDG. Of course it was. They're a great team. Dyrus is going to die.
Wow, Lustboy really putting the hurt on the Coral here. That's what you do, man. This is Bloodthirsty Sport. Just stay in auto. Look at that. Oh, it's 1v1 him, yeah. Well, maybe not. Maybe not now. No, stop 1v1ing. They're okay. All right, we're okay.
Yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, they're now able to deny Coral, but Bart took so much damage here, and Coral's already level 4 with Smite up, so if he actually wants to, he can just go jungle right here. That's the benefit of taking Smite, if you're not going to be punished with ganks.
Bjergsen knocked up, taking a lot of damage here, waiting to use those summoners. Didn't need to use either one, so EDG making an attempt there, but Bjergsen in a safe spot. Oh, taking a little bit of damage on the way out, though.
And one thing that I haven't really seen is the Smite top mundo. It's actually not very common among our Smite top laners.
Yeah.
I thought that somebody might play it at some point, but to date I haven't seen it.
The one place it was very popular of all places, the NA Challenger scene, Seraph played a lot of it. And took over a bunch of games.
Oh, Dyrus in a little bit of trouble. Dodges ClearLove. Mako coming in though from behind. Will they try to dive this again? The minion wave, I think, is going to say yes. Dyrus already down at half health, still just level 4. And there he goes yet again. Kill number 2 this time, going over to ClearLove.
EDG is completely right to be doing this.
Yeah. Santorin is never on the same side of the map as Dyrus in this tournament.
Especially, you can either support him with Bard, with health packs and journeys to get out, or have that. You have to make at least some kind of counterplay, because Dyrus does not have Smite. He can't jungle on his own. So someone on the team does have to go and help Dyrus. That is now his second death under the turret.
And really, Lustboy hasn't been doing a whole lot in lane. There's not really a lot of reason for Lustboy even to be on the top side of the map at this point in time. Because Santorin hasn't been going for the dives, they haven't been setting him up in response. We should see Bard moving around the map more instead of just standing in topside and getting hit by cleavers.
Well, yeah, that's the whole idea. Is you start to chain those chimes, you can really move around the map fast in that lane swap. Maybe go save Dyrus, you know, maybe make a gank in mid or something like that. They should be doing more with this Bard. And
instead, Deft is now level 6.
It's not Dyrus's fault this keeps happening, but what do you expect? A nice death sentence onto Dyrus. That's 3 kills already. Man, TSM really just leaving Dyrus out to dry yet again.
So it's a little bit Dyrus's fault, but it's a systematic problem right here, and EDG is right to exploit it, as every team has done so far at the Mid-Season Invitational.
What do you do if you're Dyrus in this situation, though? If you know your team isn't going to come and help, do you still get the farm as you can?
Specifically when EDG is coming down like that, you have to avoid the lane. You ask your jungler for double jungle, or you just go and try and push another lane with your team. You group up 3 or 4 people in the top side, try and push down Mundo's turret and assist in an enemy dive if you know the enemy is going to be putting 3 people bottom dedicated to kill you.
You notice there just aren't any wards as well, too, to warn him that people are coming in. I mean, you do have information from the other lanes, of course, too, but not really anything in his side of the jungle to give him that little bit of extra info.
Well, it's tough because where do you put your money at that point, right? Do you use the meager amount of income that you have on wards for yourself?
Yeah, very true.
Yep.
Wow, Deft actually with a pretty quick Runin's Hurricane.
Well, he has gotten 2 kills and an assist at 7 minutes.
Yep, and a dragon and a turret.
Now, he has fallen behind in CS as a result of this. They've been actively pushing the wave. If we look at what's happened in the top side, TSM has been freezing for the most part, trying to play Corki back to his turret, which does make Lustboy's presence up there increasingly unnecessary. But at the same time, they have managed to actually pick up a lot of farm onto the AD carry.
Yep.
And they're trying to hit, the nice thing about Corki in this composition that TSM is running is it kind of gets them over the hump into the late game. First off, you have some nice mid-game siege with the long-range poke from the Urgot and from the Corki, so you might be able to take down some early towers, and it's a little bit of an insurance policy getting in late. But this Mundo with this challenging Smite is going to be pretty terrifying, and Deft already in the top side starting to take more towers.
Oh yeah, Smite Mundo in the late game turns into a total monster. As I've seen when Seraph has been able to play it.
Yeah, and it's also just Cinder Hulk combined with the AoE from Mundo is extremely good at split pushing. And there's not a really good answer as to who is going to deal with the split pushing from TSM.
Yeah, at this point TSM needs to control this and find a way to fight around the next dragon for the most part. Or they can need to send an overwhelming force top lane and push this down. But since it's already a Hurricane Callisto, you're not really pushing against that very easily. The options are very limited right now.
Right, and the nice thing for Deft is he can stand up here and continue to clear waves. Meanwhile, Wild Turtle has to use mana to actually clear those waves effectively.
Yeah.
So eventually he's just going to run out of mana if nothing else changes, and it'll be pretty hard.
I would say so. And we mentioned the CS earlier with Deft falling behind. Well, he's pretty much caught right back up again by rotating into that top lane. So everything fine at the moment, and already a 3K gold lead at 9 minutes.
One lane that has been pretty much completely unfocused this game is the Pawn versus Bjergsen matchup. Bjergsen has been decimating people early in CS.
Oh boy,
and continues to die to his ganks.
Bjergsen a little bit of trouble. Position reverser may save him. He's a little bit tankier. So many Sand Soldiers, so Bjergsen getting low. Has to burn that flash. Clear love, flashing to chase Bjergsen with that shield. Looks like he'll just barely manage to escape. Meanwhile, up in the top lane, TSM trying to make a play onto Deft and Mako. Mako pulled in though. There we go. Oh, nice play on the Lust Boy. A lot of trouble. Magical journey to escape. Oh, Deft, he's taking a magical journey too, and it's going to be a journey to the death for Lust Boy. Maybe. Oh, makes it out. He uses the Bard ult to stop Deft just long enough. Bjergsen in trouble in the mid lane, and he will finally go down as Pawn grabs that kill.
A flurry of events. Santorin's ultimate flew wide in that engagement as the Lantern and the Fate's Call are just a lot to keep up with.
Yeah.
Lust Boy with a miraculous escape, but they still end up losing Bjerg in the mid lane.
A nice decision by Clearlove to go
Here
back.
they go.
And
Assistance.
Journey. Deft in a little bit of trouble now. Lust Boy still low, and Deft may try to claim a kill. He'll get an easy one. Oh, that was painful. Oh, what?
How many can he get?
Hit with that death sentence. There's the double, and he's not done yet. Teleport coming in for TSM. Dyrus trying to turn that one around. Coral there as well, too. Deft getting low. Dyrus gets the shutdown. Turns back onto Coral now. Mako trying to help out, but Dyrus will finally go down. Not quite going to catch up to Coral for that. Well, that was interesting.
It's mostly a magical journey into the afterlife.
I know, it's not quite the magical journey, really, is it? It's kind of a deadly journey.
The most unfortunate thing about all that is now, the most unfortunate thing is Dyrus reset his bounty. It was actually fairly meaningless for EDG to continually kill him until he gets a kill after that teleport, and immediately Coral picks up a fat 300 gold there, and that'll only extend EDG's lead higher and higher.
Very true. Oh, Pawn coming in onto Bjergsen. Bjergsen a little bit of trouble. Lustboy comes in to try to save him. Looks like Bjergsen might get a dodges that death sentence, and EDG going to need to back up just a bit.
EDG's tried that same gank a couple times now. It's the second time, and each time Bjergsen gets over the wall with the position reverser, so I'm really sure that's going to work as long as Bjergsen has that ultimate available to him.
Bjergsen is holding on as best as he can right now. I was going to say before all the ganks happened that this was actually the first time someone has out-CS'd Bjergsen at 10 minutes, and that was majorly without jungle assistance. I do have to credit Pawn Azir pretty heavily here, a pick we haven't seen him pull out in competitive play. Doing quite well against Urgot, who is a tremendous lane bully early on, and this game is very quickly getting out of control.
Yeah, certainly starts to look that way. EDG coming in to claim their second dragon. Nothing TSM can really do about it. Lustboy getting closer, but no plays really to be made. TSM trying to put a little bit of pressure onto the mid lane. That is about it. Big gold lead for EDG right now. And for TSM to come back, they're going to need to have some pretty sick team fights. And Deft, chasing down Wild Turtle. Where's that Valkyrie cooldown? Wild Turtle taking a lot of damage. Will the Rend finish him off? There's the flash. Deft waiting for it. Oh, Rend, so close. Meanwhile, Coral takes down that turret up in top lane, and it looks like they may lose one in bot as well, too. Deft trying to get closer to Lustboy. Thrown in with that Fate's Call. There's a nice play. Lustboy grabbing the death sentence. He's in the box now. Tempered Fate's going to save him for just a moment. Santorin comes in. Lustboy magical journeys right into Clearlove. Oh no, goodbye Bard. He's getting a little bit low. Meanwhile, Deft dies to the turret, and a little bit of help from Wild Turtle. Meanwhile, Mako getting taken out as well. Clearlove managed to get the kill on Lustboy, but that may have been a little bit too far from EDG.
EDG may be going for a few style points right here, because diving between two turrets at 13 minutes into this game is not the most measured play that we've seen right here.
Everybody
TSM
just wants to get closer to Bard, you know? It's so awesome.
It's about sending a message sometimes. We talked EDG, even with the SKT game where they were defeated, was averaging 0.76 kills per minute. They're trying to keep up this pace right here, and just make a statement to the world that they are a very good team.
A very killy team.
A very killy team.
Yeah.
Well,
that was a phrase.
They are a very killy team.
Very killy indeed, I agree.
A little too killy right here, though.
Yep, Lust Boy.
Launching himself into the inhibitor turret. And credit to Lust Boy here, the delay on both of them just long enough to Magical Jury himself out of there, and then also distracting Rek'Sai long enough to make it so Wild Turtle and Santorin don't die right here. Deft jumping back into the turret. Poor Kalista play, I would have to say.
Yeah, that's not maybe the best idea.
You do have a chance to maybe dodge some of those rockets jumping side to side instead.
No, man, you got to go right back into the turret for the style points. Hey, what's Kalista's favorite restaurant? IHOP.
Oh, God.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. I haven't been booed by thousands of people once in a while, so I had to do that. Thank you.
If there was a time to say that joke, that was the right time.
Looking for that sponsorship. Lustboy takes the magical journey back through the bot lane. I can't say that enough. Dyrus flayed under turret. He's filled with spears. Ouch. And Deft's putting a ton of pressure onto this turret. Oh, here comes Santorin. But not able to quite do anything at the moment. Lustboy in a little bit of trouble. Wild Turtle, there's a Tempered Fate. Again, Coral's like, thanks, man, I need to catch up. Oh, Clear Love gets the kill there, and Wild Turtle backing off with that Valkyrie. Yeah, this Bard pick, I hate to say it, may not be working out too well. Oh, Clear Love all over Wild Turtle. Easy kill there, but here comes Bjergsen for a bit of revenge. Will he get it, though? I don't think so. There's a kill for Pawn. And this one is turning into a bit of a rout.
It certainly is. And what we saw on the top side with Santorin didn't quite have his ult off cooldown yet, so Deft wasn't punished for being a little bit too far forward there.
7,000 gold already.
Man.
15 minutes into the game.
Well,
EDG actually had it was a 16,000 gold at the 20-minute mark against Besiktas. They have been crushing people in the group stage outside of that SK Telecom game. Pawn is incredibly strong on Azir right now. Azir as well, an amazing turret pusher. He can use his Sand Soldier directly on the turret to chunk a bunch of health out of it, as you saw him do twice there.
That was a lot.
And he takes that whole turret down by himself.
And that's a 4-0 turret lead now. Meanwhile, some fighting up in that top lane. Santorin uses his ult to try to escape, actually. Dyrus still tangling with Deft for now. Mako coming in. There's a teleport for Coral as well. Lustboy takes the magical journey through. They could have chased. Thought maybe it was a trap. It kind of was, as Dyrus loading up the sun. Coral, magical journeys right into it, but no follow-up for TSM. Yeah. Magical Journey just makes games like 10 times more entertaining.
Yeah, you have to be careful, though, because Bard will line up that Q on the other side and just stun you straight into the wall. So
yeah,
it's actually one of the few times we've seen some reserve from EDG.
Yeah.
Not just all dogpiling through the magical journey.
Why not?
To be fair, Coral still took it knowing full well what was on the other side.
He did.
He just knew he was strong enough to not get punished by it at the moment.
It was a good setup. You know, Dyrus loading up that max Q as well, too. They stunned him, but hard to finish off the Mundo once you've got him in position.
Yeah, this Mundo getting pretty darn scary, too.
Yeah, at this point, we need to start looking at the rest of MSI and the games that we have coming up too, because at this point TSM has one win against Besiktas. In order for them to make it out of group stage, they would need to win this game and then have Fnatic lose to Besiktas. But EDG, I'm going to say they're going to win this game.
I think that's a pretty safe bet there, Jet.
I could say it. I think EDG is going to win this game. Bjergsen in a little bit of trouble here, thus furthering that hypothesis, perhaps.
He'll fall as well. So it actually does make the next game Fnatic has against Besiktas pretty important as well, because in a world where Besiktas beats Fnatic, that puts 3 teams on 1 win. And we would actually still have a 3-way tie.
The best of the worst for MSI.
It's still a possibility that we're going to have coming up here. And EDG,
it's possible.
They're going to try and end this game as quickly as possible.
Yep, going in onto this inhibitor turret in the mid lane, doing a lot of damage to it. Does TSM have any sort of recourse? Santorin has that ult. Oh, here comes Dyrus right through the middle. Doesn't hit anybody. And now TSM, they can't follow up because there's nothing to follow up on. Pawn coming in for a bit more damage. They're going to take out Ghost Dyrus. Tempered Fate freezes people up for just a moment, but again, no damage really. Coral getting a bit low. Oh, the Wild Turtle grab by the death sentence, taken down by Clear Love. Pawn comes in. Emperor's Divide pushes Bjergsen back out, another kill for Clearlove. What a hero, and a flash from Deft to take down Lustboy. And it looks like EDG is ready to end this one as quick as they possibly can.
They took so much damage from the inhibitor turret that time, but not a single one of them ended up falling. They're just going to run back for Dragon 3.
Well, Tempered Fate, not doing the best things in combination with the Silent Ultimate. He kind of moved right through everybody straight into the Azir turret during that siege. But man, Pon's Azir mechanics are incredibly smooth to travel to those Sand Soldiers and then knock people back with the Emperor's Divide. He really has those combos down nicely.
And we actually had some internal questions about Pon's champion pool coming into MSI, because we were looking at the champions he was playing against LGD in the LPL finals, and they were all very assassin-based picks, very low wave clear, and not really playing into the control mage style that we saw out of SKT in the LCK finals, the Azir and the Cassiopeia. And we're also thinking, like, how hard would it be for Pon to go back to these picks? Because back in the day, he was an Orianna player, very good one at that, and he should be able to pick up those control mages. Running straight through the Zhonya's men right there to his demise. Through one turret into another. And then just EDG are so far ahead at this point. You can watch everyone taking their turn at dealing with that turret laser over and over again. No one actually falling down.
Oh, EDG takes an easy Baron, and now they'll move back into TSM's jungle.
Koro has so much money right now. He hasn't been back to shop in a really, really long time.
He thinks this is ARAM, man, where he has to die to go back and get items, apparently.
2,400 gold currently on Koro.
Maybe time to hit the B button there, Coral.
Well, you as long as you can keep sustaining with that Mundo ult.
I guess. I mean, why not? Who needs items when you can lock in Mundo? Another turret going down. EDG continuing to push towards what will probably be the end of this game fairly soon. They've got the Baron buff. They've got all the power. Coral, though. Oh, here comes Dyrus coming in, and he does hit a couple people, but where's the follow-up? Clearlove blocking a lot of stuff. Dyrus gets flayed back in, filled with spears yet again. He is going to go down. That is that Tempered Fate used again by Lustboy. Didn't really get a whole lot done, as it hasn't gotten a whole lot done all game. There goes the inhibitor turret. Whoa, Pawn bending the Sand Soldier to try to get in on Sand Torrent. And look at that, flash death sentence, doesn't connect with Wild Turtle. I could watch Pawn play Azir all day, man.
So bending the Sand Soldier like that is really, really difficult. More difficult than an insect move would be on Lee Sin. I've talked to a lot of people who've tried to pull it off. You have to get the timing perfectly, because the way it works is you place your Sand Soldier, you then E towards it, and as you're about to connect, you cue it forward. So you end up bending yourself to whatever direction that is going eventually. If you do not get the timing exact, it doesn't work, and you end up just looking like a fool.
Yeah, well, Pawn's definitely not looking like a fool this game. 2-0-5. Only 3 deaths total on the EDG side of things, as they're an enormous amount of gold up, about 13,000 right now.
And see Def just going for the QSS as well right afterwards, taking no chances against Bjergsen.
Makes sense.
So also, the time in which EDG wins this game is not without consequence. In the event of a 3-way tie for first, which would happen if AHQ beats SKT later, the way the 3-way tie works is the 2 teams that have the slowest time in their victories play each other. So the team that wins the fastest would actually get the higher in that mini tournament.
Now Santorin lands the ult on a couple members of EDG. Bjergsen still in a lot of trouble here. Lustboy trying to save people. They do take out Bjergsen. Now Santorin in a little bit of trouble. Another kill for Clearlove. Clearlove 8-0-7 this game on that Rek'Sai. Crazy stat line for him. As we near the end of this game, Pawn just bending those soldiers for fun, man, just showing off at this point. Mako taking some turret damage, barely escaping with his life here. And Wild Turtle, here comes Dyrus. What can he do? Oh, pushed back by the Emperor's Divide immediately and nearly blown up at the same time. Mako still sticking around, throwing out those death sentences, and Deft hopping his way towards another kill on the inhibitor down in bot lane. All 3 inhibitors are going to be down at this point, and the low health on EDG should be a bit of a concern normally, but these guys just don't seem worried about anything at the moment. Pawn has to Zhonya's though. Yeah, a lot of damage. Dyrus gets the kill there. Now EDG on the run. Tempered Fate, it lets TSM catch up. They're gonna kill Deft as well. Bard making things happen. Clearlove trying to get away. We got one good Bard ult, guys. We got one good one this game. I'm happy. Oh, Santorin comes in. They're going to try to get a kill on the Coral here as well, too. Oh,
Yeah.
right into
Jace.
Lustboy. Lustboy getting bloodthirsty, can't quite finish off Mako. Gonna try to make a play. Wow, magical journey. And Lustboy flashes for the bloodthirsty kill onto Bard. Coral still trying to move out, but here comes Clearlove. Nice double knockup. Wild Turtle, they still haven't killed him. Oh! Are you kidding me? What? I don't even know. I'm done, guys. Clearlove. Santorin coming in. There we go. Finally gets the kill on Coral, but gives the double over to Clearlove. At this point, it's just a melee, man. I don't think anyone's trying to end the game now. It's just Fight Club.
Brawl time. It's the small things that count in this game.
You already broke the first rule, Doa.
I talked about Fight Club. I always do that, man. I'm the worst Fight Club member. Clearlove didn't even bother to go back. He just wants to try to 1v1 Bjergsen with a half health, apparently.
TSM's inhibitors are cycling alive and dead right now, so EDG can waltz in pretty much whenever they want here. Clearlove doesn't want to stop.
Bjergsen's like, this may be a trap. No.
Here it comes.
Clearlove getting low. Oh, wow. Deft is like, no, that kill is mine. Oh, goodbye, Lost Boy. Pawn taking another one, and now EDG maybe thinking about ending this one. Maybe thinking about just getting more kills, too. I think maybe more kills is the way to go.
Hey, they're keeping up their kills per minute stat. This is more than 0.76 kills per minute. They're going for more than a kill a minute this game.
Another Emperor's Divide knocks Wild Turtle right into Clearlove for kill for Wild Turtle. Thank you there. Dyrus gets pulled in with that death sentence, doesn't land that stun. Meanwhile, Deft, Santorin just trying to take down Pawn. The turrets are getting taken down in EDG, ready to end this one. There goes the Nexus. Now that both Nexus turrets have been taken out, Santorin just hanging out. Mako tangling with him. There's the Flay, and Deft wants another kill. Oh, Wild Turtle blew up Pawn, and apparently this game is not going to end yet, I guess. Wild Turtle backing off now as Coral jumps in there. Uh-oh, Corky in trouble, gets taken down, and now the Nexus finally focused. 27 kills in 25 minutes for EDG as they take the game over TSM. It's over.
And the thing about EDG and this style of play is when you individually outclass your opposition role by role, you can continue to play this very grinding style because you can bet on the fact that you'll outplay and get a gold lead and keep on expanding that lead through further outplays and then itemization.
And the thing is, especially in this game, EDG also won the strategic match as well. They were able to isolate Dyrus down in that bottom lane, no support, continually attacking that weakness again and again and again, putting Dyrus out of the game and also snowballing Clearlove ahead. At that point, they could use Deft and Clearlove to just take over the rest of the map. So they had the mechanics, but they also had the strategy this time around.
Yeah, true enough. Well, another win for EDG, and they're in prime position now to move on potentially to the playoffs tomorrow. Another strong showing from them, and another kind of puzzling game from TSM.
There's going to be a ton of questions raised back in North America and within the TSM camps about why this tournament went so poorly. 1-4 right there, 4-1. Both these teams' group stages are now done.
And it wasn't just 1-4 either. It was crushing defeats. So,
yep. And now, guys, it's time to head over to the analyst desk for a closer look at that match.
Thank you, gentlemen. Monty's correct. Crushing defeats there for TSM in this tournament did not go well. If we look at this matchup specifically, we did see the Bard come through. There's an element of fun there, but to no avail, right? You would hope that pulling that out as kind of a pocket pick would have been, an answer, something special that puts them over the edge.
Yeah, I mean, they still have a huge flaw in their actual strategic gameplay, which is what we thought was a strength, even in the lane swaps. And I mean, it looked like Dyrus was playing zombie mode Sion by playing mostly in passive form, but it's not his fault. It's a whole collaborative team effort in not understanding where they need to put pressure and at what time.
The other thing I want to look at is the Mundo. We talk about Bard coming in. Mundo is something that we haven't seen very much of in this meta, especially Smite TP.
Yeah, and I like the commitment to the Mundo because what it had was with the Smite TP, with Urgot as well as Corky as your two AD carries, you're never burning that guy down late game. So even if something does go wrong early game, there is no way that Mundo dies in a late game team fight. We've seen him get absolutely massive. He does so much damage as well as a frontline tank. I really like the adaptation that came through from EDG.
I think a problem that occurred in the draft was the fact that when you pick Bard, you don't want to lane with him. He's not the greatest laner. And Corki does not do very well versus Kalista. A skill shot-based AD carry can usually get outplayed by Kalista's passive, you know, hopping around, dodging phosphorus bomb, a rocket. So they opted to go for a lane swap, which was a good idea, you know, get rid of this. But Bard wasn't used to roam around. Since Mundo has the smite, as you mentioned, he can jungle faster. He's safer in the lane than the Sion. No mana, could just farm away from the queue. And you saw even at one point, he almost soloed out Lustboy.
Yeah, we saw a lot of comfortability, too, on the side of EDG, even with some of these new picks. The early game played out very well for them. They had the successful tower dives to TSM's failed tower dives. And so, again, that early aggression, if they're able to do this in the bracket stages, there may be no stopping them.
Yeah, and this makes them really scary. That's twice now that they've pulled out the Rek'Sai Kalista, something they weren't willing to really do in the LPL, and that makes them an even deeper team to try and contend with. And I agree, they're putting a lot of faith in their jungler. If you go Smite TP, you're trusting on Clearlove to get you ahead at some point and to cover up some of the weaknesses of that, because Mundo should be the person susceptible to these dives. He's a guy that even before he took Smite, no escape summon as you tried to dive him.
I think a difficulty also was the summoner decision from Lustboy. By taking the exhaust, you hinder your ability to go for the tower dive. You don't really need an exhaust versus the Kalista versus the Azir. Like, these guys get really, like, they are usually in a safe position, and the Mundo needs an ignite. Urgot didn't even take an ignite. There's no ignites in that game. How are you ever going to deal with this Mundo? So they got outdrafted and outplayed all around.
Yeah, and once again, Bjergsen in the mid lane didn't go that playmaking champion we're looking for. Went with Urgot, and Urgot is extremely strong in the current meta, so props for him for picking that one up well. But I just don't think he's ever going to have the impact he needs to have on the international stage if he doesn't play something like the LeBlanc, the Ahri, that can get around the map and really try and help his team out.
Picks and bans coming into question for TSM have been a question throughout the tournament. EDG, on the other hand, though, we look at, again, that Kalista coming out, and they talked about how playing Kalista is almost just a pick ban strategy for them, saying, ban it against us later, guys.
Yeah, I mean, they did all the right things, honestly. Their routing, specifically from Clearlove, was excellent. The pathing in the jungle, the itemizations, the timings for ganks, how Korra just kind of stuck around in the top lane, just barely within XP range, able to actually farm whenever he wanted with the smite because Clearlove was somewhere else, can take over that jungle. I mean, they really exploited TSM right now.
Yeah. Spawn, I know you believe Clearlove is the best jungler in the world.
Spirit, come on.
No, I think Spirit is the best jungler in the world. I think Clearlove's the best jungler here.
Gotcha.
At the MSI tournament. I definitely think Spirit, he even showed it against him. He had that crazy Nidalee game. But the thing that Clearlove does better than anyone else is cover for his lane's weaknesses. He's willing to get out of the jungle a lot. I think that that really puts him in the pinnacle of junglers out there. I think that he also has an adaptive playstyle, something Clearlove wasn't able to boast in the past. Did used to try and farm up a little bit to the late game, so I like the way they've developed. In general, I think that Pawn's game was the impressive one here because showing the Azir pick really does add like that next layer again, because this is all about now. EDG had clinched. They needed to get in there, and they've done that.
All right, well, we talked a lot about the early game, the playmaking there from EDG and how they got ahead. Let's send it over to the telestrator where Zyrene and Sheepy are going to break it down for us.
All right, thank you guys. I am Zyrene, standing by with Fabi and Sheepy Milan, and we're going to be breaking down a play for you guys from the early game. And like Jat said earlier, there's a lot of questions here back in NA about how TSM has been performing and why has it gone so poorly. And out of the 5 games here, we've seen Dyrus be first-blooded in 4 of those 5 games. And it's not always his fault. A lot of it is lane setup, picking the Bard, not going and actually shoving waves on time. So, Fabian, walk me through the early game here.
I feel like my obligation as coach is sometimes to shed on the light, especially in those lane swap situations. Tower dives are really eminent, and I think we should just jump right into the replay here and just show how it just failed for TSM to prepare the tower dive, or either way defend it. What we see here is at the around 2:30 minutes mark, bot lane EDG started harassing Dyrus, and he got a lot of minion aggro, and so it's slowly pushing towards him. And they have 2 decisions. Either way, one, they start hard pushing it, they bounce it against the tower and then freeze it, or they prepare the tower dive. And as we see on later, they go for the tower dive. So EDG starting the tower dive here. On the flip side, on the top lane, we have as well a non-frozen lane. And what TSM is doing here, they see the top laner coming in, and they just have the wave in the middle for no reason. And what we see here is happening is Kirillov going for the red buff, going together. Santorin going for the red buff. Top lane is not pushing in, so they can't go for the tower dive. And this is the time where Lustboy and Santorin either way needs to both TP back, because if one of them TPs back, top lane TP can come bot lane and they have a 4 versus 2. Or what's going to happen, he's just going top lane. Don't do anything. It's 100% gank now at the bottom side. And Dyrus is like, where's my team? Either way, make the top lane dive happen or defend bot lane. And none of those happens. And we actually can see how Dyrus is doing really well in this situation, forcing 2 flashes and get the farm afterwards. And what we can see also in 2 minutes later, that he's actually 10 CS up and he's 0-2. So if we just roll the clip from here on out, flashing the hook, really nice play. Getting a lot of DPS on Meiko, getting a lot of DPS on Kirillov, dying here, getting all the CS afterwards. And what is happening afterwards is really important, because they need to recover from this. It will slow push towards the enemy. And if we just run forward and see how Kirillov is actually going with his jungle rotation, what he's doing, he's instantly putting pressure bot lane again, because they don't swap the Thresh into the mid lane. They keep the pressure bot lane. So Rek'Sai is going towards the mid lane, Santorin is going back as well, and they should try to actually get any kind of cover around this area down here. This is really important, so that they prevent another tower dive, because if Dyrus dies again, it's going to be really bad. So Kirillov ganking mid lane, no wards at all at the bottom side, and Dyrus again, guys, either way make a top lane happen, freeze the lane, or help me at the bottom side, and he gets caught out.
Well, Santorin had wards too, and he goes immediately after checking his Raptors. They're not there for a couple seconds.
And why is he top lane? Why is Lustboy top lane? If he's freezing the lane, and he doesn't need to be there.
It's extremely predictable too,
and
because
really
4 out of the 5 games.
And really important, they had wards around those areas. He was totally fine freezing topside, and I think this is just to show why Dyrus is dying so many times. It's not his only effort. It's actually a team effort, and I think that's really important to notice.
Yeah, and Kirillov didn't even do a jungle camp. After the gank, goes back, comes immediately middle to pick on Bjergsen, win that lane a little bit.
Just knowing how to do,
bottom.
just knowing how to do the jungle rotation effectively and setting EDG for a really successful game.
Yeah, I really think that he's just trying to farm champions all the time and at least get his laners forward instead of getting some farm for himself, and that seems to be the prevalent style here.
Yeah, I think that this is how you should play right now, and this is how we see actually most of the games going forward. Tower dives are really eminent, especially the TP play. You need to do a lot of mind games, but once you've figured out and you actually feel yourself in dire situation, you need your team to do something. Because if you're on an island, you are on an island, and your other team needs to create the second island for the enemies.
All right, thank you so much, Sheepy. We need to step away for a moment, but when we return, the European LCS champions Fnatic take on international wildcard Besiktas with the last spot in the semifinals still on the line. Stay with us.
What team is that? Are they all saying EDG?
Oh, wow!
How many can he get?
Hit with that death sentence. There's the double, and he's not done yet. Teleport coming in for TSM. Dyrus trying to turn that one around. Def dies to the turret, and a little bit of help from Wild Turtle. Meanwhile, Meiko getting taken out as well. They can't follow up because there's nothing to follow up on. Pawn coming in for a bit more damage. They're going to take out Ghost Dyrus. Nice double knockup. Wild Turtle, they still haven't killed him. Oh! Are you kidding me? 27 kills in 25 minutes for EDG as they take the game over TSM.